At first, it was just fatigue, that weight on your back that we ignore, push under the rug. Oh, it's just work stress, I would say to myself, while loading up on coffee to get through the day. But then the itching started, an infernal itch that wouldn't go away with anything. Sleepless nights, scratching myself raw, trying to find a position that would bring some relief. I also started to feel a bit feverish, a bothersome warmth that came and went. It must be an allergy to something, I thought, switching laundry detergent, fabric softener, anything that could be irritating my skin. But the itching persisted, getting worse each time. And the swollen lymph nodes? At first they were small, almost imperceptible. Just a swollen gland, nothing serious, I convinced myself, remembering a poorly treated flu from years ago. But they kept growing, becoming painful, until one night, when I touched my neck, I felt a huge lump. There, in that moment, fear paralyzed me. I could no longer ignore it. I needed to see a doctor. That insistent itching, the persistent fatigue, and the alarming lumps were screaming for attention. It was time to face the truth. Hello, my name is Sarah. I am 47 years old, and until recently, I lived a normal life. Work, home, friends, family. That routine that we think will never change. But life has a way of catching you off guard, turning everything upside down. And that's exactly what happened to me. I was diagnosed with lymphoma, a word that, until then, seemed distant, like something that only happened to others. I decided to share my story because amidst the whirlwind of emotions that this disease brought, I realized one thing. We need to talk more about it. We need to pay more attention to the signs our bodies are trying to tell us. I, for example, took too long to seek help. I ignored the symptoms, thought it was all stress, fatigue, and I regret it so much. If I had gone to the doctor sooner, maybe things would have been different. I'm not here to preach to anyone, far from it. I made mistakes, a lot of them. But I want my experience to serve as a warning to others, to serve as an encouragement for them not to make the same mistakes I did. At the first sign that something isn't right, seek a doctor. Don't be afraid to ask, to investigate. Take care of your health because it is the most precious asset we have. My intention is to turn this painful experience into something positive, into a tool for awareness and prevention. If my story can help just one person avoid what I went through, it will have been worth it. In the beginning, it was always the same excuse. It's work stress. The pressure for results, the long hours in the office, the sleepless nights, all of that, in my mind, justified the excessive fatigue I felt. That weight on my back, it was bad posture for sure. A massage would fix it. The headaches, sinusitis, as always. A painkiller, and everything would go back to normal. And the itching, that was the easiest to ignore. Allergic to something, I repeated to myself while frantically changing cleaning products, soaps, creams. I tried everything, calming lotions, anti-allergy ointments, even a homemade oat bath that my grandmother taught me. Nothing worked. The itching persisted, relentless, torturing me through the night. To get some sleep, I took an antihistamine. It relieved it for a few hours, but the next day, there it was again, stronger than ever. I knew it wasn't normal, but I refused to admit that it could be something serious. I don't have time to be sick, I thought. The meetings, the deadlines, the commitments, my schedule was always full. Furthermore, there was the issue of self-esteem. No one likes to admit they are vulnerable, that they need help. I preferred to cling to the illusion that everything was under control, that I could overcome everything on my own. The truth is that I was scared. Scared of the diagnosis, scared of the treatment, scared of the unknown. So I took refuge in self-medication, seeking quick and palliative solutions instead of facing the reality. I used ibuprofen for the pain, nasal decongestants for the stuffy nose, and, of course, antihistamines for the itching. These remedies, in a way, masked the symptoms, giving me the false sense that everything was fine. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. The fatigue was increasing, the itching more intense, and the lymph nodes, which at first were small and discreet, began to grow, becoming painful. The fear intensified until one night, as I touched my neck, I felt a huge lump. There, in that moment, it hit me. I couldn't ignore it anymore. I needed to see a doctor. Negligence had reached its limit. My health, which I had neglected so much, was crying out for attention. And I, finally, was willing to listen. The escalation of symptoms was gradual but relentless. It started with a fatigue that I associated with the intense pace of work. I woke up already exhausted, with no energy to face the day. Coffee, which used to be an ally, no longer had an effect. I spent the day yawning, with a foggy mind, unable to concentrate on the simplest tasks. My productivity plummeted, and criticisms began to emerge. I tried to disguise it, drink more coffee, give it my all, but it was useless. The body didn't respond. The pains at first were sporadic, like stabs in the back or legs. I ignored them, thinking it was bad posture or lack of stretching. But over time, the pains intensified, becoming constant and piercing. I could no longer sit for long periods, nor walk long distances. Going to the supermarket, which used to be a pleasure, became a torment. Every step was torture, and I needed to stop several times to rest. Work became a nightmare. Meetings were endless, and the pressure for results was unbearable. I had to exert twice as much effort to accomplish half of what I did before. The frustration was immense, and I felt increasingly useless. I started missing work frequently, making up excuses to avoid anyone finding out what was happening. I was ashamed of my weakness, afraid of being judged or fired. Relationships were also affected. Outings with friends became rare, as I had no energy to socialize. I avoided invitations to parties or dinners, making up flimsy excuses. I felt isolated and misunderstood. My husband, sensing something was wrong, tried to help me, but I shut myself off, fearing to worry him. I didn't want to be a burden to him. Leisure activities, which used to bring me joy, became impossible. I loved to dance, hike, travel, but my body wouldn't allow it. The pain and fatigue prevented me from doing anything that required physical effort. I felt trapped in a body that didn't obey me, powerless in the face of my own weakness. Nights became a torment. The itching was unbearable, preventing me from sleeping. I spent hours scratching, trying to find a position to relieve the discomfort. Leg pains also kept me awake. I would wake up several times during the night, exhausted and irritable. The next day, the fatigue was even worse, and the routine became a vicious cycle of suffering. I tried to hide the situation from the people around me. I wore loose clothes to disguise the swollen glands, makeup to hide the paleness, and forced smiles to show that everything was fine. I pretended to be excited and ready, even when I was feeling awful. I was afraid of worrying my parents, who were already elderly and fragile. I didn't want to be another problem for them. Moments of frustration and despair were frequent. I felt angry at the situation, wondering why it was happening to me. I cried in secret, afraid that someone would see me crying. I was angry at my body, which was failing. I felt helpless in the face of the illness, not knowing what to do. Life, which was once full of joy and hope, became a sea of suffering and uncertainty. That lump on my neck was the breaking point. After months of ignoring the signs from my body, too terrified to face reality, I finally found myself forced to act. I scheduled an appointment with a general practitioner, the same one who had been following me for years. I remember that on the day of the appointment, my hands were shaking so much that I could barely fill out the intake form. The waiting room felt like purgatory, each minute an eternity. I looked at the other people, trying to guess their ailments, their anxieties. I felt a mix of guilt and fear, as if I was being punished for neglecting my health for so long. When I was finally called in, the doctor's office felt cold and impersonal. The doctor, with his serious and attentive expression, conveyed a calmness that I did not feel. I described my symptoms, from persistent fatigue to relentless itching and swelling of the glands. He examined me carefully, palpating my neck, my armpits, my groin. His eyes, sometimes concerned, sometimes inquisitive, made me even more anxious. At the end of the examination, he ordered a series of tests: complete blood count, CT scan, lymph node biopsy. "We need to investigate," he said, in a tone of voice that left me with no doubt that something was not right. The following days were pure agony. The wait for the results consumed me inside. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't focus on anything. I compulsively searched the internet for possible diagnoses, panicking at every piece of information I found. Fear paralyzed me, preventing me from living. Every time the phone rang, I jumped, imagining it was the doctor with the news. Finally, the fateful day arrived. I went to the doctor's office with my heart in my throat, accompanied by my husband, my safe harbor. The doctor greeted us with a serious expression. "The biopsy results confirmed the diagnosis of lymphoma," he said, his voice choked up. At that moment, the world collapsed on me. I felt as if my legs were giving way and I was about to fall to the ground. The word lymphoma echoed in my mind, laden with pain and uncertainty. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Lymphoma? Me? This can't be happening, I thought. Incredulity prevented me from processing the information. It was as if I was living a nightmare, waiting to wake up at any moment and realize that it was all just a terrible mistake. But reality was cruel and relentless. The diagnosis was real, and I would have to face it. Fear took hold of me. Fear of treatment, fear of pain, fear of death, fear of leaving my husband, my family, my friends, fear of losing my dreams, my plans, my life. The uncertainty about the future paralyzed me, preventing me from seeing any ray of hope. What will become of me? I asked myself, desperate. In that moment of vulnerability and despair, I needed support. I needed someone to listen to me, to understand me, to comfort me. I needed someone to give me hope and show me that I was not alone. That's when I held on to my family, my friends, my faith. That's when I decided to fight with all my strength against this disease that threatened to consume me. I knew the journey would be long and difficult, but I was willing to face it, one day at a time, with the hope of a better future. I began researching lymphoma, seeking information about available treatments, chances of cure, side effects. I wanted to understand what was happening to me so I could make the best decisions for my health. The search for answers gave me a sense of control, helping me cope with the anguish and uncertainty. The start of treatment was a shock. Chemotherapy. The word sounded like a sentence. At first, the idea of injecting poison into my body to heal me frightened me. But the medical team was incredible, explaining each step of the process, the possible side effects, and the chances of success. I trusted them and submitted to the treatment. The first session was terrifying. I sat for hours in the chair with the needle in my arm while the drug slowly entered my bloodstream. I felt a chill run through my body, followed by intense heat. Nausea, dizziness, weakness. The side effects began to appear quickly. At each session, the feeling was worse. The exhaustion was excruciating, preventing me from doing the simplest things. I lost my appetite and everything tasted metallic. My mouth was dry and irritated, making eating difficult. But the worst of all was the hair loss. Seeing my strands falling in clumps in the shower was devastating. It was as if I was losing my femininity, my identity. I shaved my head and started wearing scarves and wigs. I tried to stay positive, but each day was a new battle. Hospitalizations became frequent. Low immunity made me vulnerable to infections. High fevers, body aches, difficulty breathing. Each hospital visit was a nightmare. I took antibiotics, corticosteroids, painkillers. The amount of medication I ingested was frightening. My body was becoming weaker and more debilitated. Surgery was also necessary to remove a lymph node that was unresponsive to chemotherapy. Recovery was slow and painful. There were moments when I thought about giving up. The pain was unbearable, the suffering was constant, and hope seemed to fade away. I felt like a burden to my family, a nuisance to everyone. I cried in secret, blaming myself for getting to this situation. But the love and support I received were essential for me to keep going. My husband was my greatest encourager, always by my side, giving me strength and affection. My children, even when young, transmitted an incredible energy to me. My friends visited me, made me laugh, and reminded me that life was worth living. The medical team was also essential. Doctors, nurses, and technicians always treated me with professionalism and compassion. They patiently explained everything to me, answered my questions, and provided the emotional support that I needed. Faith also helped me a lot. I prayed every day, asking God to give me strength to overcome this trial. I read the Bible, seeking comfort and hope in the sacred words. Despite the difficulties, I never lost hope. I knew the fight would be long and arduous, but I believed that with the help of God, my family, my friends, and the medical team, I would be able to win this battle. I learned to value each moment, to make the most of each day as if it were the last. I discovered that life is a precious gift and that we should make the most of it, even in the face of adversity. The changes in my body were difficult to accept. Hair loss, swelling, skin discoloration. I felt ugly and deformed. But I learned to love and accept myself as I was. I understood that beauty is not in physical appearance, but in the soul. The illness taught me to be stronger, more resilient, more grateful, and more human. It taught me to value the little things in life, to love unconditionally, and to fight for my dreams. It is important to clarify a common confusion. Terminal condition is not synonymous with palliative care. Being in a terminal state means that the disease has reached an irreversible point with a limited life expectancy. Palliative care, on the other hand, is an approach that aims to improve the quality of life of patients and their families facing serious illnesses at any stage of the illness, not just at the end of life. In other words, It is possible to receive palliative care even when seeking a cure, in parallel with treatments such as chemotherapy or radiation therapy. Many people associate palliative care with the end of the line, as if it were an admission that there is no more hope, but that's not true. Palliative care is a comprehensive support that aims to alleviate pain and other symptoms, take care of mental and emotional health, and provide comfort and dignity to the patient. The focus is not to hasten or delay death, but to ensure that the person lives in the best possible way, with the highest quality of life possible, regardless of the prognosis. In my most difficult moments, when the pain became unbearable and anguish consumed me, palliative care was a relief. I received support from a multidisciplinary team composed of doctors, nurses, psychologists, social workers, and other professionals who helped me deal with the physical and emotional symptoms of the illness and treatment. Pain was managed with medications and other techniques, anxiety was relieved with therapy, and fear was confronted with information and support. In addition to conventional medical care, I explored alternative therapies that brought me a lot of relief and well-being. Meditation helped me calm my mind and find a space of inner peace amidst chaos. Through regular practice, I learned to observe my thoughts and emotions without judgment, to accept the present, and to cultivate serenity. Yoga provided me with physical and mental relief. Gentle postures and breathing exercises helped me relax tense muscles, improve blood circulation, and increase my vital energy. Acupuncture was another therapy that benefited me greatly. The fine needles applied at specific points on the body relieved pain, reduced stress, and improved my sleep quality. These alternative therapies, combined with traditional palliative care, provided me with significant relief from symptoms and helped me cope with stress and anxiety. They showed me that it is possible to have quality of life even in the face of a serious illness, and that self-care and seeking well-being are essential to facing life's challenges. It is essential to remember that each person responds differently to treatments and therapies, and that it is important to find what works best for you, always with the support and guidance of qualified professionals. Do not be confined by labels or prejudices. Experiment, explore, and discover what makes you feel better. The important thing is to take care of yourself, both physically and mentally, and seek happiness in every moment. After a period of relative calm, of exams showing remission, and of a life gradually taken back, the news came as a cold shower. The relapse. The word echoed in my ears like a sentence, undoing the faint hope I held. It was as if the struggle, so arduously fought, had been in vain. The feeling that everything was starting over from zero overwhelmed me with an overpowering force. The frustration was immense. Having to face the pain, the fear, and the uncertainty again seemed unbearable. The symptoms returned, treacherous and relentless. The fatigue, which I had already learned to control, resurfaced with an even greater intensity, leaving me bedridden for days on end. The pains, once sporadic, became constant and piercing, preventing me from carrying out the simplest activities. The itching, which had given me brief relief, returned with fury, torturing me throughout the night. New exams were requested, confirming what I already feared. The disease had returned, this time with metastasis. The cancer had spread to other organs, making the situation even more serious. The news deeply shook me. The fear of death, which I had managed to control, resurfaced with an overpowering force. The idea of leaving my husband, my family, my friends tore me apart inside. Accepting the new reality was a slow and painful process. I cried, screamed, rebelled against fate. I questioned why it was happening to me after having already suffered so much. But gradually, I realized that anger and frustration would not lead me anywhere. I needed to find a way to deal with the situation, to adapt to the new reality. I sought psychological support to help me process my emotions and deal with the fear and anxiety. The therapy sessions provided me with a safe space to express my feelings, to vent my anxieties, and to find strategies to face the challenges. Spiritual support was also crucial. Faith gave me strength to move forward, to believe that, even in the face of pain and suffering, there was a greater purpose. I decided to focus on living in the present, on enjoying every moment as if it were the last. I started doing things that brought me pleasure, like reading, listening to music, painting, and spending time with the people I love. I learned to appreciate the little things in life, like a hug, a smile, a sunset. I understood that happiness is not about having a long life, but about living each moment intensely. I still fear death, but I have learned to live with it. I know I cannot control the future, but I can choose how to live in the present. I decided to face illness with courage and hope, without letting myself be overwhelmed by despair. I want to leave a legacy of love, faith, and resilience. I want to show people that it is possible to live with joy and dignity, even in the face of great adversity. The journey is difficult, but I am not alone. I have the support of my family, my friends, the medical team, and, above all, my faith. And with that strength, I know I can overcome any obstacle. Every day, I renew my energies and prepare for another day of struggle. I believe that love and hope are the most powerful weapons we have to face adversity. The discovery of lymphoma, despite being a moment of terror, paradoxically presented me with a new perspective on life. Before, I lived on autopilot, concerned about the future, anxious to achieve goals, imprisoned in a frenetic routine that prevented me from appreciating the present. The illness forced me to stop, to reflect, to reprioritize. And in this process, I discovered the beauty and importance of living in the now, of savoring each moment as if it were unique. I learned to appreciate the morning sun that enters through the window, the bird's song echoing in the garden, the taste of fresh coffee that awakens me to a new day. Small details that previously went unnoticed now have a new dimension, filling my soul with joy and gratitude. I discovered that happiness is not in great achievements or material possessions, but in the simple things that life offers us at every moment. Relationships have become even more important. I began to value every hug, every smile, every word of affection I receive. The presence of my family and friends has become a balm for my soul, a safe harbor where I find comfort and support. I learned to express my feelings more clearly, to tell people how much I love them and how important they are to me. Conversations have become deeper, moments of togetherness more intense. Activities that bring me joy have become a priority. I rediscovered the pleasure of reading a good book, listening to music, painting, cooking, gardening. These activities provide me with moments of relaxation and connection with myself, helping me to relieve stress and anxiety. I discovered that self-care is not a luxury, but a necessity, an act of self-love that allows me to recharge my energy and face life's challenges with more strength and balance. Illness has taught me to be grateful for life, even amidst pain and suffering. I learned to be thankful for the small things, like having a home, food on the table, people who love me. Gratitude helps me maintain a positive attitude towards life, to focus on what I have rather than what I lack. I discovered that gratitude is a powerful antidote against sadness and despair. Unnecessary concerns have lost their importance. Before, I used to anguish over trivial things like deadline, bills to pay, work problems. Today, I realize that these worries are not worth it. They don't deserve to steal my peace. I learned to put things into perspective, focus on what truly matters, and let go of what is beyond my control. Illness has taught me to prioritize what truly matters: love, family, friends, faith, health, inner peace. I learned that time is a precious asset, and we should make the most of it, doing what makes us happy and being with the people we love. Life is a gift, a miracle, and we should honor it by living each moment with intensity and gratitude. My journey with lymphoma has made me a better person. I have become stronger, more resilient, more grateful, more compassionate, more humane. I learned to value life, to love unconditionally, and to fight for my dreams. And even in the face of future uncertainty, I move forward with faith, hope, and joy, cherishing every moment as if it were unique. Because, in the end, what truly matters is the love we leave in the world and the joy we share with the people we love. May my story inspire others to live in the present with intensity, to value relationships, to be grateful for life, and to find happiness in simple things. May we all learn to love, to forgive, to be thankful, and to live with joy until the very last moment. Life and death have always been themes that intrigued me, but it was the experience of illness that allowed me to understand them at their core. Previously, death was a taboo, something distant and frightening that I preferred to avoid. Today, I see it as a natural part of life, an inevitable cycle that we will all face. I no longer see it as an end, but rather as a transition, a passage to a new plane of existence. Illness has taught me that life is a precious gift, a miracle that we must honor and cherish. Each day is a unique opportunity to love, to learn, to grow, and to make a difference in the world. We cannot waste our time on unnecessary worries, resentments, or grudges. We must live in the present moment with intensity, savoring each instant as if it were the last. Death, in turn, has taught me the importance of living a purposeful life, of leaving a legacy of love, kindness, and compassion. No matter how much time we have, what matters is what we do with the time we are given. We must use our gifts and talents to serve others, to do good, and to make the world a better place. The experience of illness has transformed me deeply. I have become stronger, more resilient, more grateful, and more compassionate. I have learned to appreciate the small things in life, to love unconditionally, and to pursue my dreams. I have discovered that true strength lies not in avoiding pain, but in facing it with courage and hope. Suffering has taught me to have more empathy for others, to understand their pains, and to offer my support. I have learned to listen attentively, to offer a friendly shoulder, and to lend a hand to those in need. I have discovered that love and compassion are the greatest gifts that we can offer to the world. The legacy I want to leave is a legacy of love, faith, and hope. I want people to remember me as someone who loved deeply, who fought with courage, and who never lost faith. I want to inspire others to take care of their health, to live fully, and to make a difference in the world. It is essential for people to understand that health is the most precious asset we have. We must take care of our body and mind by practicing physical exercise, eating healthily, getting enough rest, and avoiding harmful habits. It is also important to undergo regular medical exams to detect any health problems early. In addition to taking care of physical health, It is essential to take care of mental and emotional health. We must learn to deal with stress, anxiety, and depression, seeking professional help when necessary. It is also important to cultivate healthy relationships, engage in activities that bring us joy, and set aside time for self-care. For those facing similar challenges to those I faced, I want to leave a message of hope and encouragement. Don't give up. Believe in yourselves, trust in your inner strength, and never lose faith. Seek support from family, friends, and the medical team. Remember that you are not alone. The journey may be difficult, but it is not impossible. With courage, determination, and hope, you can overcome any obstacle. Life is a precious gift, and it is worth fighting for. Believe in love, kindness, and the power of hope. Live each day with intensity, savoring every moment and doing what makes you happy. And above all, never lose faith. The most important message I want to leave is, listen to your body. It speaks, it signals, it calls for help. Do not ignore the signs, no matter how small they may seem. That persistent tiredness, that uncomfortable itch, that nagging pain that won't go away, all of this could be a warning that something is not right. Do not be afraid to see a doctor, to undergo tests, to investigate. Prevention is crucial, and early diagnosis can make all the difference. The sooner the disease is discovered, the greater the chances of cure and a less aggressive treatment. Do not let fear, shame, or lack of time prevent you from taking care of your health. Remember that you are the most important person in your life and deserve all the care and attention. Prioritize health, have routine checkups, follow medical advice, and above all, listen to your body. It is your best friend, always trying to protect you. If, by chance, illness knocks on your door, do not despair. Face it with courage, faith, and hope. Seek support from family, friends, the medical team, and spirituality. Remember that you are not alone on this journey. Believe in the strength of life, in the human capacity for overcoming, and in the importance of cherishing every moment. Enjoy each day as if it were the last. Love intensely, forgive generously, and be grateful for all you have. Life is a precious gift and deserves to be lived to its fullest, even in the face of adversity. May my story serve as inspiration for you to take care of your health, to live joyfully, and to never lose hope. May love and gratitude guide your paths and illuminate your hearts. Believe in the power of life. It always surprises us.